Asim on top.
Evening, people. Welcome to Born and Red. It wasn't a bad dream. Yesterday, Mohamed Salah literally shook Liverpool, shook the world, I should say. And the situation hasn't got better. If anything, it's got worse. And I know it's the start of the show, but we are really. And I haven't deliberately turned my light off. It's just my bulb has decided to go out today. I wasn't trying to signal that it's a dark weekend for the, well, which it is, to be honest with you. The greatest. Oh, my mic has gone. My mic.
It's fine. You can still hear you.
I think it's
Its quality is not that great, Asim.
just quickly turn it on.
Just take the night
That's
off.
better.
I wish I could take the night off, Avi. I wish I could take the night off, but here we are, people. Is that better?
Yeah.
That's perfect.
Is that better? Yeah. Yeah. I don't know where we are, but Liverpool fans don't know where they are. Gene, do you feel we've all slept on it, and this is probably a better time to reflect on things. But judging by what I believe there's a bit of a Salah, not a bit of a Salah, a proper Salah smear campaign going on today. But we'll get into that. Some people will disagree, and we're here to give our opinions. But how do you feel 24 hours on?
Look, Asim, I've spent most of the day, obviously, like probably everybody else, on Twitter, and obviously putting whatever you think, whatever you feel. You reply to some people, you don't reply to some people. I've had people talk shit about me, but I don't give a flying fuck. That's the simple truth.
People talk shit about you. Surprise!
I get all sorts of shit. Oh, they're going to do this. I'm going to reply to a few people. They're going to do this when you come to a game next, and this is that. They can't do shit. But the truth,
Really?
yeah, all sorts, man. We could, yeah, I get all sorts. But honestly, me. If there's anyone that doesn't give a shit, it's me. I say what I believe. I'll always say what I believe, and there's no sitting on the fence when it concerns me, especially when it concerns speaking about Mohamed Salah, who for me is the greatest ever Liverpool footballer. Of course, there are others, but for me, he's up there. Well, definitely in the top 3 or 4, like Avi mentioned yesterday. And I'll defend him when he needs to be defended, but I'll go for him when he needs to be gone for. And I just felt yesterday was a tough day, man, and it was a tough night. I didn't probably sleep till like 4 o'clock in the morning. And you know me, I've got to get out early, got to go take the little one to his football both Saturday and Sunday, and you talk to people, and nothing's really improved for me. If anything, I got even more pissed off. When then I obviously reading stuff and I don't like it. I don't like how this has played out. I don't like how it's been handled. And, other things are beginning to come to me. And look, I've spoken to a few people. I'm not a person here that sits here saying I've got fucking intel on Mohamed Salah, or if anything, I fucking go for the people like Avi's here, when the ITK world or anything like that. I have a go at people like that. But there's a few people who I've spoken to, or I know are trustworthy. Trustworthy people, and who are quite close to Mohamed Salah. Yeah. And you speak to people, and then you get told a few things, and you think, flipping heck, this is this is taking the piss. But look, I'm not in a position to go and let out what's been said. Everything's gonna come out in the open, regardless of me saying this. Everything is gonna be out in the open, and the more I think about it, Asim, I think last summer we sat here begging Mohamed Salah to get his contract, yeah? And the truth is, if Salah didn't get his contract, Liverpool fans would have been in fucking uproar. The whole club would have been in uproar if Salah didn't get his contract last summer. Simple. Because number one, Trent's gone. And if Salah didn't get it and Liverpool missed out on 2, the whole club would have been in disarray, saying you've let go of the king. You've let go of the king, especially after a monumental season that he had, probably the greatest in Premier League history. Yeah. And then you fast forward 4 or 5 months, and we're sat here, and I look back and I think, you've just given probably one of the greatest players of this football club a contract, right? And within 12 games, you've benched him, and you've practically pushing him towards the door, right? This is the same Mohamed Salah, Asim, that saved the arse of every single forward that's been at this football club over the last, more so over the last 3 years, because I don't want to bring in Firmino and Mane because they were two unbelievable forwards. But over the last 3 or 4 years, Salah has saved the arses of all the other forwards, whether it's Nunez, whether it was Jota, bless him, whether it was Diaz or Cody Gakpo. Because I can remember times sat here saying, if Salah's not on it, the whole team don't do nothing else. And there's times when other players have gone 18, 19 games, right? Mentioning Diaz, mentioning Gakpo, and had 1 goal in 18, 19 games. But there's one player who produced every single time, every single moment, every single season. And he saved the asses of so many forwards. We fast forward to this season. We spent 130 million pounds on Alexander Isak. 80 million pounds on Ekatike, and we spent 100 plus on Florian Wirtz. Salah didn't have the best of starts this season. We all know that. You know that. Every Liverpool fan knows Salah has had, compared to him, a shit start to a season. Yet nobody else has come to save his ass. Nobody else has stepped up. And I get there's mitigating circumstances in terms of Alexander Isak. He's new. He's just come. You know, it takes time. Florian Wirtz has just come. Okay. But to then say, okay, you've saved the asses of everybody else who went 18 games with fucking 1 goal. Yeah. You've had other strikers at this football club who were absolute dog shit for God knows how many years. The first time Mohamed Salah goes through a real bad patch like this is get him on the bench for 3 games in a row when no other forward has missed 3 games in a row for this type. You've got players that are absolute shite who might miss a game, who might miss a game and a half, right? And who probably did come on off the bench. Mohamed Salah hasn't come off the bench in 2 of them games. Yeah, when I believe he should have come on. And the one game that Avi was mentioning yesterday, that Salah stunk up the gaff in that 45 minutes against Sunderland, yeah, was a load of tosh. Because I've seen the highlights. I've sent Avi the highlights, and he didn't stink up the gaff. He was actually not great, but to say stunk up the gaff doesn't sit with me. Yeah? Anyway, look, the truth of the matter is, where we're at right now, the truth is Salah will leave. There's no, at the end of the day, we've seen the quotes come out today that what Salah's, the courts of club are going to back on his slot over Mohamed, but they probably will. We all knew that anyway. Salah's not stupid. He would have known that before he did the actual interview. Yeah. But to pin it on him, right? I find it as a disgrace. I've seen journals, right, who haven't got the bottle to say F all over the last 2 months on the manager, don't say fuck all, haven't opened their mouth against him, have the bottle to come out and go out against Mohamed Salah, who's not giving you 1 fucking title. He's been your best player for 8 seasons, yeah? But now you have the audacity to go online and post bullshit about the man. Why? Because you're fucking mouthpieces of this football club. Because whatever the club want to spout out to you, you will take it, because that's what it is. Mohamed Salah, there's a reason why. I'm actually glad the Norwegians yesterday went out and fucking put that news out before any of the other journals did. Because you know what? They fucking deserve it. Because you know what? They would have spouted their bullshit. They would have spouted their bullshit. And I'm not here to listen to bullshit, bro. I will say exactly what I feel, because I'm not no fucking spokesman for no club. If I've got something to say, I will say it. These guys are fucking mouthpieces of this football club, and that's what they've done. All of them come out with the same fucking bullshit at the same time. We didn't have one of them who had the balls to come out and say, you know what? There must be unmitigated circumstances. Salah's come out and gone absolutely ballistic. Why? Why has Salah gone out absolutely ballistic? Oh, he's thrown his fucking toys out the pram, because that's what the club wants to hear. But he didn't have the bottle to call out Salah and Slot for the past 2.5 months. Yeah, when Salah gave you the greatest ever season last season, didn't he have fucking credit in the bank? Didn't he have where you know what? Let's fucking support him. No, but you know what? You picked you choose your side. Fine. Salah will go. I have no issue with that, because now the decision's been made from up there. But you know what? I'm fucking glad he's done it. You know why I'm glad that's him? Because they probably signed that new contract thinking you're going to get 50 million pounds in January. Salah's come out and said that. And you know what? You ain't getting no 50 million pounds, because the whole world, whichever club that he's going to go to now, knows. Salah's not stupid. He thought, you're going to take me for a fucking ride. You're not taking me for no ride. He's come out, lambasted him, threw a fucking nuclear bomb and said, right, go and try and get your fucking 50 million. Because number one, you can't keep a guy on 450 grand a week at this football club after January if he doesn't want to be there. Number one. So what's going to happen? You're going to have to sell. You're going to have to sell the player. What price? 50 million quid. Are you well? You ain't getting no 50 million pound. You're getting 20 million max for him in January. And I'm glad he's done what he's done. Because you can't take the piss out of the king. This isn't no Jordan Henderson or any other footballer, bro. This is Mohamed Salah. He's an icon. He's a footballing icon. He's a Liverpool great. And if he feels like he had to come out and say what he said, then so be it. Yes, I will caveat this. There's things in there that I disagreed with. There's things in there where he said stuff like, "Oh, I still deserve to play. Yeah, regardless of from what I did last season." Okay, I can accept that. That was wrong. Mohamed Salah shouldn't have said that because at the end of the day, it's on form. If you're good enough, you play. I get it. But we all deep down know that he's got his son playing on that left-hand side, yeah, who stinks the gaff out, like Avi mentions, every other week, who's done fuck all, and he plays every fucking week. Yeah, he took him off for 45 minutes because he couldn't beat his one-on-ones, but he had the audacity to start him the next game. Talk about favoritism. Talk about having a player to talking about having your own favorites. Chiesa doesn't get a chance, but his son gets a chance every other game. He gave it, oh, yeah, let's have a go at him, but still start him the game after. When you've got a guy that's given you everything for the last 8 years, why couldn't he start Salah in the last game? Because this is the simple truth. End of the day, look, it is Asim. It is what it is. I've accepted the fact that Mohamed Salah is going to leave, but I'm not going to let people take the piss out of Mohamed Salah. And I'm going to defend him as much as I can. That's just the way it is.
Mute Asim.
You mute Asim.
Gene, I wanted to go back at you, but I want to take advantage of Avi because I know he's got a flight to catch, so it's only fair. He's given us sacrifice his time at the airport to us on the show, so it's only right for me to go to him. I'll come back to you on a few things later on in the show. Avi, I want to ask you the same question. 24 hours on, where are you? You wrote some tributes to Salah because I think that is the greatest sadness out of the situation that we have seen out of the 10 years. There's some great footballers, Bobby and Van Dijk and Firmino, Mane. We've all got our favorites, and rightly so. But Mohamed Salah is up there with you call him the greatest player to ever don the Liverpool shirt. And 24 hours, how the situation is now looking, Avi, that this player, this icon, this legend, has probably played his last game for Liverpool.
Yeah, and sorry if there's a bit of noise in the background, Asim. Look, it's a very sorry situation. It's a very bad situation. Yes, yesterday, I was going back and forth. And look, Gino's a passionate Liverpool fan. He's a passionate Salah fan. Like we all are. Look, we love Mohamed Salah. There's no one out there that dislikes Mohamed Salah. Did I appreciate the timing of yesterday? No. And I attacked him. I said this was really wrong. Does Slot's behavior, has he conducted himself well? No. And I had to go back last night, even though I didn't want to, over the Jacob Murphy comment. That was a very stupid comment to make from a manager. Very stupid comment to make from the manager. But he's been making stupid mistakes on the pitch, and he's saying silly stuff off the pitch for the last sort of 6-7 weeks. Asim, look, the greatest regret will be he won't get the farewell that he deserves, that this club should be organizing for him. He's pretty much said, look, Brighton will be my last game. I don't see, and I don't think we see him on that pitch. I don't think he'll maybe even will be in the squad against Inter or Brighton. It's a sorry situation. Asim, look, the timing of yesterday's interview wasn't right. We have to condone that. We have to. Even the staunchest of Salah fans have to admit that yesterday that timing was wrong. If you wanted to say the same things, give it a day, breathe a little. But I get it. It's in front of him. He's frustrated. He's angry, and rightly so. That I get. I'm fully supportive of him saying, listen, all I've been given is 45 minutes in the last 3 games. And yesterday, you thought he would have come on, and that would have been the last straw. The goodbye, the waves, that was the last straw. Asim, he won't play. He won't kick another football for Liverpool Football Club, and that's the regret. That's the regret. And everyone is culpable. I think the mouthpieces today, like Gina says, they're all on it. They're all on it. Joycey, a few sort of media channels who are within the Liverpool establishment have said their piece. And look, I don't think they could go the other way. They wouldn't. Obviously access rights, priority passes, whatever you want to say it. You know, it's the package, isn't it? So they weren't ever going to go against the football club. And look, when it's player power versus the club always comes off best. They will the player comes off worse, basically. So yeah, it is the end, and it's a sad end, and this is not the way it should have happened.
Ben, Avi says it shouldn't have happened, but I want to ask you, if it's Salah's last game, whose fault is it?
My word. I just want to start by saying that when what Gene said at the beginning, I think that needs to be reiterated. Like, you know, we're just four guys here who are doing a podcast and giving our opinions on a subject matter that we all are desperately passionate about. We love our team, we love our club. You know, we're all got that in common. And, you know, nobody's doing this to come on here to get abused left, right and centre. And I know, you know, you put yourself up there in the media, in the social media circle, in the fan media culture, you put yourself up there to be shot down. But, you know, Gene's had messages today saying some really nasty things. You know, I've had messages as well over the last few days saying, you know, you're wrong, you're out of order, you're a racist, you don't support the team, you don't support the club, etc. etc. We're just four guys, like people, you know what? We're just four people who have just got an opinion on the club. You know, none of us are right, none of us are wrong, none of us have real insider knowledge about what's going on. We're just looking at the situation and four grown men who are trying to make, you know, an understanding. I wish so much that I would sit here every week and just say, Liverpool have won 5-0, Everton's rosy, we're all laughing and we all smile and joke and laugh, and then we all say, is right, get on with it. But this is tough. This is tough for everyone. It's really tough. And there's a lot of deep-rooted issues that are going on at the club all of a sudden at the moment. There's a lot of stuff that's happened in the summer. Nobody really knows how to deal with this, if I'm being honest. And I include the club in this because they're clearly making mistakes. And that's what leads me on to what I'm going to say now. In that Asim's asking me whose fault is it. I think, you know, the club have got a lot to answer for with the way that the situation has happened with Salah. In my opinion now, I think now that the club premeditated this situation. I think personally that the club give Salah a new contract to protect his value. And I think the plan was to sell him next summer when they had 12 months of Isak and Wirtz to integrate into the team. And I think they thought we'll get a decent fee for him next summer. But I think with what's happened this season, he has dropped off. He hasn't been anywhere near to the level that they would have hoped or expected. And all of a sudden, there's possibly a bid or an agreement come down the track from a Saudi club or another club. And the eyes have lit up and said, right, okay, we can cash in here and we can get big money rather than we think we were going to get. Now, obviously, Salah and his team will have been fully aware of that, and they've obviously said, "Well, if that's how you think you're going to treat me, then I'm not going to sit in silence." And rightly so, because as Gene said, he is an absolute legend of the club, and he doesn't deserve to, in his eyes, be treated the way that he has, because there's other people in the team who have been equally or worse performing than Salah, who probably deserve to be on the bench before him. Now, in the grand scheme of things, he's been benched for 3 games. He came on for 45 minutes in the middle one. In the grand scheme of things, it probably isn't that big a deal. And I still insist in saying that if he'd have won against Leeds, then he might not, you know, it might have been swept under the carpet again. And I do think he has got a bit to answer for in terms of why would you choose to do this in the current circumstances. It just adds more, throws petrol on the flames, basically, because the club's in a mess at the moment. So he's took the strategic opportunity to do what he's done, but equally he feels as though he's been completely let down by the club, and the club have thought, you know, we'll take advantage of this, and they've totally, you know, disrespected the last 8 years of what he's done, because they've thought, do you think with you.
So what is it then, Ben? Look, we have to ask tough questions. If anyone on the panel in the chat want to ask me tough questions, because it's a very sensitive situation as well. Very passionate discussion that we've been having in the last 24 hours. But you have to ask these questions. I have to play the host as well. So please forgive me if you think I'm like really putting you on the spot. I'm not. I'm just playing devil's advocate at times. And if you want to ask me the same questions, And we don't need to actually say. I don't want to go into it because we have that relationship off camera as well. But then, what is it then? Is it them being ruthless? Is it them future planning, future proofing, or is it betrayal?
Yeah, I think it's both. If I'm being honest, I think they have sort of. I think we completely and utterly laud Michael Edwards for his strategic decisions off the pitch. He chooses to wait when other fans have said, go and buy someone, go and buy this person, go and buy that person. But we wait and wait and wait, and we make strategic decisions. And he's been completely lauded when he was there last time as sporting director and when he was there this time. And he's lauded probably because he's not a Liverpool fan. And he's at the top of the game because he makes his decisions completely based on and with no emotion attached to it. Now, all of what we're doing and what we're dealing with this situation, we're dealing with emotional elements because we're massive Liverpool fans, and two, we're massive Mo Salah fans. And it's but he's not. And he's looking at the situation saying, if I can now get essentially a declining player for significantly more money than what I would have got in 12 months' time, and it's ultimately for the better of the club long term, I'm sort of going to brush to one side what he's done in the past, and I'm gonna make that decision. And I just think that looks like what's happened. And Salah's been really sort of hurt by that, and rightly so. And he's come out and said what he said. And he's basically saying, I'm not going to go quietly into the night. And that is the situation that we're in now. And I don't even, people are saying, oh, is it Slot or Salah? I don't think anything to do with Slot, if I'm perfectly honest. And I think that's probably another factor, because now there's a really difficult situation. If Slot goes and picks Salah on Tuesday night, he's basically, it looks as if he's a weak manager who's just folded to player power, and he's got no sort of credence at the club. But then if he leaves him out completely again, then it's like he's doubling down on his decision, and he's basically showing that, well, yeah, it is personally to do with you. And I don't think, because logically speaking, it might be a lot more sensible now to say drop Gakpo for Tuesday night and start Salah, because Salah should be really fresh in theory. If we're just talking about the football conversation here now, that's probably what should happen. But because of what's happened, now the decisions are all being second guessed and all being questioned for different reasons. So I think he's put himself into a really difficult position. And I think I'm with Avi now. I think the reality is, and I hate to say it, but I think that he probably won't pick him again now. And I think that's shockingly bad, because he deserves.
Do you think the decision has been taken out of Arne Slot's hands?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do. Because, and I think that's where
even before the interview.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I think Slot's been thinking Salah doesn't fit into this current setup for a while. But then I think now he's been given the green light by the people above him to say, right, okay, if you want to bench him now, you can, because we've got an offer for him.
But people.
That's and I might be wrong, but that's
you're probably. Look, Ben, you're probably right, but my issue with all of this is, then if that is the case, you were going to go through a rebuild. Why sign him why give him a new contract at the end of last season? Because you didn't have the bottle to say no, because you knew the fan base, everybody, because of the generational season Salah put up, you didn't have the bottle, and just to appease the fans, they just gave him a contract just to throw this slightly down the line, where they could, hopefully they thought, you know what, put it down the line, give him a contract, because he loved the football club and he did want to stay, right? We'll throw it down the line and we'll try and get 40-50 million for him, 50 million pounds to keep his value.
I think at that point, when they did offer the contract, they also didn't know for definite whether they were going to sign Isak, Ekitike and Wirtz. We were hoping to, and that was the plan, but they could have all fallen through and not happened. And then if we'd have come out of the summer without our first choice targets or any of the targets we wanted, and we'd have let Salah go, there would have been complete and utter uproar, wouldn't there?
Guys, sorry to interrupt. Guys, I'm boarding my flight. Asim, they're calling the last boarding now, so I'm gonna have to go. We'll pick this up tomorrow. And look, guys, I don't know. Stick with the club. Stick with Salah. There's it's split the fan group, and that's a sad thing to see. It split the fan group, and essentially, this is what United have been doing for the last 8-9 years. Nobody's right in this situation. and there's plenty of wrongs. So yeah, we'll pick this up on tomorrow's Monday show as well. Guys, have a good one. Yeah, stay blessed.
You
Take
too,
it easy,
mate.
Avi.
Right, yeah.
Bye.
See you later, mate.
I want to
Asim,
pick.
Asim, I'm gonna ask. Let me come to you because look, you know, there was obviously we all probably, I think everybody saw your tweet today.
Yeah.
You know, the one that, you know, went pretty. I think everybody saw it regarding, you know, what's it called, the board and Salah. What is your take on everything? Because you read that tweet and you think, you know what, something sinister has been happening in the background, right? Because I want to understand what your thoughts are.
I think Gene, Salah talks about the good relationship that he's had with Slot, and that was apparent. There was a good relationship, and let's be honest, if your main man and this trade-off that you've agreed with your manager that, coach, I don't want to defend, but you make sure if you're going to do that for me, then I will provide you the goals. And Salah provided an all-timer season. We know that, and naturally the relationship is going to be good. But in terms of what he was referencing to people, someone wants me out of this club. I might be paraphrasing, but he effectively said that. And because from Salah himself and the Salah camp, there is a lot of confusion, anger, sadness, disillusioned, disillusion. What's the word? Disillusionment. He's
Disillusionment. Yeah.
Because at the start the club wanted stability and they got it. They got a title, and everything was fine. And Salah was the focal point. But they feel like there were some promises, obviously, literally made when he was signing the contract. But the reason why he was confused and disillusioned, Gene, is even when he was wanting the contract, it was one of the reasons why he came out. He came out on a few occasions. Southampton, Old Trafford. Yes, he picked his moments, but who doesn't pick their moments? These journalists that call him selfish, do you think they write their articles and post them the next day? They sit on articles for months and they choose the right moment. So are they not being selfish? So that was a separate point. But and what I will say about these journalists as well, calling him selfish, and he's thrown a grenade and talking all this language about nuclear stuff as well, is when he came to you guys after Old Trafford and Saints, was he selfish then? Was he being called selfish? We had a banner up in the Kop saying give Mo his door. The fans were backing him, the journalists were backing him, the fan base were backing him. Nobody called him selfish then. We were saying back him, give him his door because he deserves it and he's earned the right. And sometimes, look, what I would say, even his English is really, really fluent. Sometimes, especially over 7 minutes, it gets lost a bit. And that's not, his English is better than me. But you know what I mean? It's not his natural tongue, language. So you have to bear that in mind, especially when he gives you an emotional interview for 7 minutes. Some things will get lost. But I think the confusion started then, Gene, where the club, it feels like the Salah camp, even then, yes, he was rewarded with a mega contract, but the confusion started then because it felt like the club had other priorities. It felt like Verge was boxed off. He was the captain. He was the leader. He had to get boxed off. But also the club prioritized Trent. And you can understand from the club's perspective why he was the bigger priority, not in terms of the bigger star. Salah's the bigger star, but in terms of asset and value to the club, in terms of age as well. It's hands down Trent. It was hands down. And these guys, we know they make long-term decisions, but Trent did him over. And then in March, they had to make a decision. And this is one of the clear reasons why the Van Dijk and Salah contract, after the sort of official news that we got that Trent, or not official, but more or less official news that Trent is not going to be, actually, yeah, it was around March, wasn't it? After the international break, that Trent is not going to be extending his contract, that, Salah and Virgil were boxed off within the space of weeks. So the Trent money went to Salah and it made it a lot easier. But it felt like the Salah camp didn't know what to do. And you saw him many times. You got called selfish, but there was a lot of honesty in those interviews. Look, I love this club. I want the Premier League records. There's one of the things that we talk about Mohamed Salah is his single-mindedness and wanting and being selfish on the pitch. Every great striker, every great player is selfish to an extent, but that's what makes them great. But this is the reason why he wanted to stay at Liverpool, because what the relation, because his daughters Scousers. And this is the reason why. And we fast forward, those promises were made again in the summer. But I believe at that time, Liverpool were probably looking to pin Van Dijk and pin Trent on a contract. And that's when they probably started shortlisting a few summer transfers. If you think Liverpool suddenly rocked up in the summer and started thinking about Wirtz and Isak, then you're deluded. Liverpool, or any club, a well-run club like Liverpool, they think about transfer targets sometimes years before. But the minimum, you start thinking, many times the managers have talked about, after the international break, we start looking at what's going to be happening summer, generally speaking. And I think they were planning for Salah not to sign. And this is the reason why we started looking at Isak and Wirtz. We started looking at post Salah around January. But because Trent did him over, and obviously we know the story there, it was a win that Liverpool needed. And obviously they had a bit of spare cash going around because of the Trent money had to go over to Salah. But I don't believe, and there is a feeling even amongst at that time, that the Salah, look, he was rewarded really, really well. But he earned that contract. But I think it should have and could have been sorted out a lot more. And there was an obvious reason for the delay. But fast forward to the situation now, the feeling that he is betrayed is because I think over the last 6-7 weeks, they've started entertaining and even sounding out parties at Saudi Arabia, Al-Ittihad, Al-Hilal, all these guys have been sounded out. And Ben made a brilliant point. 2 years in terms of asset, in terms of a business model. This guy, even though Mohamed Salah is always an asset, even though he's got a day left on his contract, but he's a bigger asset if you've got him down to 18 months or 2 years or whatever he's got left. So I think there is a notion, and I talked to someone today who's close to the club, and I talking to him about the transition, and I wrote it down. He said the transition period, mate, has been expected, like everybody else expected it, but surprising at the same time. And I think the club are now, because of what I've just mentioned over the last 12 months that happened in regards to the willingness and the enthusiasm to give all three huge stars the contract. I think because they've been surprised at the transition and the struggles this season, they've had to make a call on it. And I believe Edwards, Richard Hughes, these guys have taken the decision out of the manager's hand, and they've brought him in and effectively said, look, Wirtz, Salah, all these guys, we just don't simply, I don't want to talk tactics now, it's not that sure, but it just simply doesn't work, like you said, Ben. And I think because of that, the Salah camp feel betrayed. And I'll be honest with you, him going out public, I was a bit emotional yesterday. I can't even remember some of the things I said yesterday, I'll be honest with you. But after sleeping on it, thinking about the situation, him coming out publicly, it doesn't do anyone good. Nobody thrives upon the situation. But when you think about the root causes, and when you see your manager only a week ago talking about we don't have a Jacob Murphy of the profile of Jacob Murphy on the right hand side. If you're Mohamed Salah and everything you have achieved at the club, then how does that make you feel? You think you're taking that personally?
Yeah,
that was a personal tone at the player. If he said we don't have a player on either flank, just to generalize it, we don't have a midfielder that can really link up, that would have obviously called out Wirtz because he's been playing and struggling in the number 10. He had to generalize that comment. And I don't care if you say that's the Dutch culture, he's being honest. No, you don't be honest when you talk about that sort of thing. When you come up in front of the Sky cameras yesterday, before the game, after the game, you're talking about how professional Salah is. That's what you do. If you have to deflect a question, you deflect it. If you have to be honest, you choose your moments. And I think that is what the betrayal that Salah feels. And when he says someone wants me out of the club, I think he feels like there has been and I'll quote someone close to the Salah camp. He said it's upstairs. He kept it very, very simple to me today. He said it's upstairs. And what does upstairs mean? That I believe that the decision has been taken out of Arne Slot's hand. The club have decided that it had to be. And they're even talking about Joyce's article was mentioning that they might have to look at someone like Semenyo. There's a trigger clause there, a clause there to trigger. Like, why are we even talking about potential players? Can't we just talk about the situation, how bad the situation is for the player and the club? So look, it's not been handled well. There's a breakdown in relationship between the manager and the player, and there's a reason for that. And that is on the manager, I believe, because that's a communication breakdown. It's a communication breakdown. And I believe when you have a proper leader, a man manager, Gene, and there's some rumors about other players, and look, there's rumors, I repeat, but other players are not being happy with many things this season in terms of communication, many players. But look, like you said, it will come out in due course, and let's see what happens. But it is a sad situation. I just can't get the thought of Mohamed Salah playing his last game and he doesn't go around that pitch with every single fan in the ground, even every single fan watching him from home and outside the stadium, just stood up applauding him and thanking him in their own way, in their special way, of what he's given us over the years. Some of the big and the best memories are because of this man. Obviously, it's a team sport, but if Salah wasn't around for the last 9 years, then some of us who have experienced so many moments wouldn't have experienced those moments because he delivered them. And it's a very sad situation. But I think that is and I repeat, when he came out and I slept on it, I said, look, doesn't matter how you sort your situation out behind closed doors. But when I talk about the betrayal, when I talk about this Jacob Murphy, and when I talk about the lack of trust and confusion, then you have to understand it. And when you look at the root causes, you sort of understand as why he's come out. And I believe he's also come out, guys, is he's given it time. He's given it time. And I think he's only come out when maybe there's no going back.
Yeah, it is sad. It is really frustrating and sad. But I think the club have been almost as ruthless with Salah as the way Trent was with Liverpool. And there's no sentiments in football now. There's no loyalty in football, and it's an old cliche, but this is it in reality. This is absolutely it. Nobody thought that Trent, a Scouser, would have done what he done and gone behind, and decided to leave the club premeditated, blah, 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 blah. But that's it. He's done what he's done, and he's been lambasted by the fans, but he's like, that's fine, because I'm going to Real Madrid to make, for a new challenge. And the flip side has happened now. Nobody thought the club would do what they've done to Salah, but Edwards and co have made that strategical, financial, business-based decision to say, right, okay, we can get more money for them now than what we would have done next summer. Then we'll do what we need to do. But I really do hope that even if that decision has been made, which it looks like it has, then surely to goodness, they need to get around a table this week and say, listen, this shouldn't have been done like this. We've done it wrong. Salah will probably say, listen, I probably shouldn't have said what I said in public, but you backed me into a corner and I've said it. But surely there's got to be some sort of situation where he is in the squad or plays or does something for Saturday at the very least, so he gets given that opportunity, because I can't believe that the club would allow that to happen. If he goes out the back door, I'll be a Liverpool fan tomorrow with the same way as I am today, but I'll be really, really upset with the club for doing that, to be honest.
And the word, Ben, that's been used, that I've been talking to today, is scapegoat. Scapegoat. I think that is a feeling where Salah feels like he's been made a scapegoat. Why? He has been bad.
Yeah, Asim, 1 second. You mentioned scapegoat. With respect, I've seen people online, give us Mohamed Salah shit for defending. That he's not in the team because he's not helping out. And he's not helping out defensively, doesn't give us anything. What in the right frame of mind are you guys on? He doesn't defend. Of course, it's Mohamed Salah. He's 33 years old. What are you expecting from him? We've
The
conceded
defenders aren't
11
defending.
goals. Ben, we've conceded 11 goals from set pieces this season.
Yeah.
What's Salah going to do when you've got Ibu Kanate making all them mistakes every other week?
Yeah.
What can he do?
And that's where he has been made a scapegoat, because
It's
I don't
mental.
think
It's
I don't think
absolutely mental. And Salah, look, he's had a shit season. We all know that, Asim. He's had a shit
all have.
season. Yeah, but they fucking all have. Or 90% of the players, bar Ekatike, who had a good game yesterday, and it was been, before that 4 or 5 game wasn't on it, and Soboslai. Ben, how many other players can you say, you know what, decent? Maybe Curtis Jones came in a couple of times, did okay. Is there anybody else?
Yeah.
You can't name me one more player. Out of
Yeah,
15 players, I've given you maximum 3. Yeah, why him
absolutely.
as the scapegoat? Why
Yeah.
him after 13 games, after every 8 years of relentless, giving us the best moments, being our talisman? 13 games it took, and you was like, no, when there's players who gave us nothing at times, but they were okay to play because Mohamed Salah would save their asses.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is
And
why
as you
he's
say,
feeling aggrieved, Ben.
yeah,
This
and I
is
think
why
you're
he's
spot
feeling
on.
like these guys are backing me into a corner because I've
Yeah,
saved
that's
the
what-
asses of all these fucking players. Yeah, now my time came and you've thrown me under the bus. That's why he used that word.
Yeah, and absolutely, and I think it is just comes down to money. I really do think that's what the whole decision's been made, because he's the one on the 450k a week, and they've suddenly thought, if we can get a decent fee and get him off the wage bill and move on quicker than what we were planning to move on, because we all know we were going to move on from Mo eventually. He's not going to be playing for us forever. That's just the reality of it. But I just don't think they thought he was going to maybe drop off as much as he has. But then reality is, I don't think he has dropped off so much so that he's now a complete waste of time, because it's the system.
Okay, one more thing. People mentioning that he's thrown a strop because he was benched. Yeah, I've seen comments over there today. Oh, he's thrown a strop and thingy on the bench. I want to address it. Which other player's been benched 3 games in a row?
Don't think so.
Thank you.
No one
Which
who's fit,
player,
obviously.
answer my question. Did he throw a strop after being benched the first game, which we won against West Ham? Second game, we nearly lost that game. Yeah, if it wasn't for Fede Chiesa at the end, right? He came on as a substitute. We've seen his performance. He was okay. He didn't do great, but he was okay, right? Cody Gakpo stank the gaff out that day and got taken off at halftime. Salah deserved to start against Leeds. Yeah, didn't start. Didn't even come on.
He should have started against Sunderland, reality. Because the first half was so passive, wasn't it?
But you know what? Fine, no problem. You know why, Ben? Because we won against West Ham. It's understandable why the manager
it is.
went with it
we all
to an
said
extent.
that, didn't we?
I'm not here to back Salah. I'm actually trying to be a sane fan and trying to understand. But that performance against Sunderland, it should have been enough for him to at least start. If not start, at least bring him on. That was the last straw. Salah said, F you then, I'm going for you. Because
I think it's deeper than this now, because I think he knows, like we've suggested now, this has probably been done a few weeks ago, or this decision has been made. And he's not maybe kicking off about the fact that he was on the bench for the 3rd time. He's kicking off because he knows he's going to be on the bench against Inter, and he knows he's going to be on the bench against Brighton. And he knows if he comes back from the AFCON, he's not going to be involved in, because the decision's already in motion to sell him. So he's like, well, I'm going to make it clear that this is not acceptable in my mind. And he shouldn't say the stuff that he said about, I've earned my place already, because we all know that's an emotional reaction. And we all say some things in an emotional moment because he has been backed into that corner. Because the reality is, he probably knows what's on the cards here. And he is an emotional guy. He is massively. We saw how upset he was in the beginning of the season with Jota. And I think deep down, he's a proud man. He's got a huge ego, and rightly so, because he's one of the greats. But he's probably thinking, you know what? I am slowing down now, and I'm not quite the player he was. And he's probably massively frustrated that he can't help us get out of this situation, because he can't do exactly what he used to do. So he's probably questioning himself as well. I'm trying to be as best as I can, but at the same time, any chance the club giving me the benefits of the doubt, like I do think he should have been benched. But as you say, I think now looking at it, it's not about him being benched or not about him being rotated. It's about a more bigger decision upstairs that's being made in his absence.
And the reason why he thinks he's been made a scapegoat, Ben, is if you look at the team now, like someone mentioned that, you know, Salah's lost his legs, he doesn't beat a man, he doesn't track. If I just described Salah this year, that the same could have been applied last year. We had an all-timer season. So you're telling me, you know, he didn't track back last season. He didn't take hardly anyone on last season. And, you know, what else did I say? I can't even remember. But the same applied.
Yeah, and you're not telling me he's literally in the space of 3 months become an old man to the point where, you know, we can't do, you literally, your legs don't go within weeks of them not going. I know, as I say, he dropped off a little bit last season, but then there was the cover up of the fact that we had Diaz on the left who was doing a huge amount of pressing and running. We had Nunez contributing left, right, and centre, and that's where he said, "Oh, the team's not better this year than it was last year." And we sort of took that tongue in cheek, but he's saying, well, the team wasn't better for me this year than it is last year, because now we've got more creative players or more gifted players, but we haven't got more energy or more drive or more a bigger press. And that's where Salah's lack of that has been even more exposed. So it's as much about a balance.
Rehan says yes, but Salah last season was providing the output. This is my point. Why was he providing the output? Do you think it was? Do you all of a sudden think now it's a Mohamed Salah problem where he's gone from the trade-off to completely not even starting him for the last 3 games? Is that is from one extreme to the other, where you give the player the license to win you the league, and then suddenly he's become the main problem? And are you surprised? The whole right-hand side is decimated. One day we're playing Curtis Jones, one day we're playing Szoboszlai, one day we're playing, and then the number 10. You know, Florian Wirtz, the positionless number 10, you are a focal point, £120 million player. After 4 games, he's got Dominic Szoboszlai back. Then he's got Cody Gakpo. You didn't replace the profile. You gave Mohamed Salah, it's not just about the trade-off. You gave him the environment to flourish. Now, I'm not saying Mohamed Salah is the future of Liverpool. No, he's 33, 34. He shouldn't be in the next 2-3 years. Not 2-3 years, next 2 windows even. We should be looking for future-proof in that position. But the problem is we should have been in that position 2-3 years ago. One of the problems the club will say is, look, he just doesn't miss a game. So why should we? Well, that's fine. We've been there, we've done it, we've got the trophies, we're in this position now. But is it his fault that you've totally taken every single thing that was good about last season out? And then I've not even mentioned the trend factor, which I normally do. So are you surprised that he hasn't given the output? But if you want to talk output, only Ekitike has got more goals than him in the Premier League.
Yeah, he has. Yeah. So the whole team's dropped in level. Yeah. So in percentage, it's not. His drop off is massive, but the whole team's drop off is considerable, isn't it?
Yeah, and Asim, he's, you know, with respect, he's been so shit, yet he's still probably created the most chances again. Yeah, so far this season. So I think he was first for the most big chances created for this football club. He's still 1 and 2 for practically most of the things. Yes, the goals, the assists and the goals of him there. We all know that how many he scores. You know, the Sky Sports put up a stat, Asim. Yeah, in terms of how much he runs, distance covered more this season per game than last season, right? Then there was another one. Distance covered in terms of high speed more this season. Sprints. He did 14.9 last season, 14.5 this season. High intensity runs, he's done more by 4% this season than he did last season. I don't get it. What you have to understand is the change of system has hampered Mohamed Salah. The way that we're playing with the new players that have come in, it's hampered him. We know he's not getting the numbers, not getting into positions where he was getting in last season. Yes, there's times he's been greedy. I went to town on him a few weeks ago where I felt as though he should have passed to Wirtz. He should have passed to a few players. But this is a Salah that we know. Salah's always been greedy. It's nothing new. Exactly. That's the truth. People call him greedy. He's always been a greedy gate. It just
all the best strikers are.
But we also provide the most assists as well and the chances.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so he's not a greedy gate, is he?
Still, it's easy to just. This is why I've said, like you mentioned, Asim, the word scapegoat. That's the truth. He's been made a scapegoat. But look, Asim, I don't want you can go through the supers now, but I don't want to make it into a thingy. Personally, if I was Liverpool, I'd go into training. We know he's a goner. You know that, Salah knows that, everybody knows that. To put the wool over the eyes and say, listen, my man, you're gonna go. For the next 2 weeks, you got Everton and Brighton. We're gonna put you in the squad. You've got 2 games at Liverpool, and you can say goodbye. Tika, put him in the squad. Don't start him against Inter. Don't start him. Don't play him. But make him travel, because it doesn't seem like, you know what, it's mental. Of course, if you lose that game, Salah, everyone's gonna go mental, saying, there you go, Salah didn't play, you've lost the game. But at least Brighton, give him his homecoming, give him his last game, and he can move on.
There is a part of me though, and this won't happen because obviously it feels like the wheels are in motion for his sale. But there's a part of me that would think, you know what? There's a part of me that would say, right, okay, you're playing against Inter from the start. You're playing against Brighton from the start. You're the man. You're the one who's talking. You're the one who's giving it the big one. Go and win us the game. Go and win us the game in Inter, or go and show us what the real Mo Salah is all about. Then I'd love that. I really would love it.
Ben,
but the problem is, if he
does
win
us the
a
game,
hat trick,
if he does win us the game, if he does win you the game, they're effed.
You know the reason why I don't
exactly, Gene, exactly, and
that's
it
why
would be fascinating, wouldn't it?
You know the reason why
that's what you're gonna do, though, and that's why he's not there no more.
You know one of the reasons why he might not travel to Inter Milan, which most likely he won't, is if he does and gets announced in the squad with the traveling party, UEFA are going to pick Mohamed Salah to sit next to Salah and Slot in the press conference.
They are, yeah. Oh,
now
man,
that would make good TV, won't it?
Wouldn't it just, yeah? And you know what? Amongst all this, like, I think Slot is shown his naivety massively, and I think it's a cultural thing with Dutch managers. They are blunt and they are say it how it is, and they are a bit nuts, to be honest. Like Louis van Gaal was a brilliant manager, but he did some nuts stuff like that. People were just like, "What are you on about?" But he has shown his naivety in his communication, because I think he is a top coach. But I think the scenario needs to be perfect for him.
There's quite a few that
when you're outside of these regions, this is outside of Slot's job description without a shadow of a doubt. I don't think he's actually fallen out directly with Slot. I think it's all above, as you say, upstairs.
100%. Just before I go to the supers, because there's quite a few that we've got started, I want to just touch on people are saying, "Oh, look, Asim, you wanted to get rid of the trade-off." Yes, I did. But I didn't want Salah to be on the bench week in, week out, especially not for 3 games in a row, because I feel that we need to get rid of it, because I was recognizing that we're not getting the output, because the volume of shots are not coming from Mohamed Salah as well. If the volume of shots are not coming from Mohamed Salah, surely there's a deep-rooted problem. If he's not, all of a sudden, 8-9 years later, Mohamed Salah is not shooting properly, because we know for the last 2-3 years, he hardly takes a player on, but his skill set is still to create
decision making.
That will never ever leave him. His decision making and his way of creating separation with his fullback. But the reason what I was saying is, a couple of weeks ago, I wanted to get rid of that trade-off, but just forget the 4-2-4, just drop 5-10 yards and be compact, but more compact. But the problem is Arne Slot's 4-4-2 mid-block is still very, very passive. Will be a lot better than someone like Chelsea, even other teams as well, coming out after the game saying we targeted it. But if you think Salah, the trade-off is just being targeted this year because Cucurella has come out after the Chelsea game, then you're silly. Trent and Henderson and Mohamed Salah dynamic. It was always targeted because 1, Trent, and 2, the way Klopp pressed as well. Especially, and what Klopp had is his counter press beliefs. We also had the players. He had a false 9 that you will never ever see someone like that winning the ball on the halfway line in Bobby. He had Mane, who never ever stopped running, and he had Henderson covering and doing a Szoboszlai role, going into right back roles or right wing roles when he had to, because he had 2 great footballers in Trent and Salah. So the right hand side has always been a target for Liverpool, always. So it's not just a new problem. Don't tell me it's just a new problem over the last 2-3 months. Anyway, supers. We are doomed, Slot. Thank you, Slot out. Is that early? I don't know. I think it's quite a few Slot out, so it might be early. If it's not early, big up whoever it is. We are doomed. Slot will end up going anyways. Lol. Slot out again. Results won't change. Slot will end up leaving. I don't think he leaves, if I'm really honest. He's either staying or he getting the sack. John O9761, thank you so much. The club never wanted to give more the new deal. They were bullied into by the fans, and they've told Slot piss off more. Told Slot piss more off, so he wants to leave and we can sell. Very similar to what I was saying, and I believe there's a lot of truth in that, if I'm really honest. Ahmed Al Kuzi, I'm sorry if I butchered that. Salaam alaikum. Been watching you boys for a while. Love your shows. My take: Salah deserves every respect that he gets. The rest have been just as bad. Let's not forget what this guy has done for us last year. 100%. Gedi, thank you so much. It was part of the agreement for Isak Salah to Saudi, Isak to LFC. Just don't forget the links of Edwards and the PIF.
Sorry, that was a cheeky one. That wasn't a super. I just started that because I just thought it's quite an interesting theory, and on the theorists of this, that is more than possible. I think in terms of mute team.
100% agree with you. 100% agree with you. That look, if we're all honest with each other, deep down, we all know Salah is gonna end up in Saudi, yeah, because of who he is and the Arab world, or the connection, all that type of stuff. The Saudis are obsessed with him and they want him. The Arab world is obsessed with him. They want him in the Saudi, and he was always gonna go. He might have gone a year or two before that, but he went when he was the right time for him to sort of leave. But we gave him the new contract. He was probably going to go in 2 years' time, or maybe even a year's time, right? And this is what it is. In terms of the way the Isak deal happened at the end as well, Ben, you know how he went over to Saudi. Edwards had to go to Saudi, the links over there and all that type of stuff. There was probably an agreement in place in terms of Salah will go. But I don't think it was January, Ben.
This soon. Yeah, this soon.
Nobody thought it would be. If it was the summer,
12 months,
I think
Salah's yours.
Yeah. So that way, they would have got a little fee. We would have all been happy about it. The issue that's happened is because it's been fast forwarded 6 months down, and Salah's just feel like, what the fuck's going on here? Yeah,
exactly,
that's what's turned the
and that's where he's talking about promises have been made, etc., etc., etc. And he's like, if you think I'm just going to let them go, let's see, as I say, sail off into the night, being on the bench, then you can think again.
Yeah,
but it's still needs sorting, doesn't it? And as you say, it's a real interesting scenario now because, like, obviously, I know you were full into it on your first and your opening gambit, but the reality is we've got to still sell them, haven't we? And now all of a sudden, Saudi are like, well, you've got an unhappy player on your what's called,
there you go,
on your books. But at the same time, if Edwards isn't stupid either, he could literally do the same thing. He could turn around and say, right, okay, if you're not giving us what we want for him, 50, 60, whatever it is, then we will keep him and we'll play him, and we'll change the tone again. So it could change again, couldn't it?
Very difficult, Ben.
And then it could be a slot out jobby then if it's not already.
Siddy, thank you so much. Always supporting the channel. Some fans hate Mo, have scapegoated, criticize him every chance they get, call him selfish, etc. when the club have betrayed him, and then cry about Jota. Look, Siddy, big up. Look, we can't bring Jota into the conversation. We all still in shock as to what happened. Call people or fellow fans or fellow football fans, call him what you like, but we just can't bring Jota into the situation, with all due respect. Hope you and family are well, bro. Ash, thank you so much. The atmosphere of Brighton could be very, very toxic. A stadium chanting Salah and a coach who's basically been told you can't select him. Director of football hiding. I want to hear from Richard Hughes. The only time I heard from him is when he was sat next to Slot. I believe, Liverpool fans deserve answers. Their biggest star has come out and said, look, I feel like somebody at the club wants me out. We want answers. We need answers. But what we're told is the club just want the dust to settle, maybe to thinking, look, short term, let him go. If they have any, which I don't think they have, I think the decision has been made, but they have to portray out like they're thinking about the decision, the reconciliation process, and all that sort of stuff. But Yeah, 100%. Ash, I agree with you that we want to hear something from the hierarchy. City again, long talk needed about the racism and implicit racial bias, overwhelming negative bias Mo has faced from the media, rival fans, our own fans for 8+ years. Look, we're not afraid to talk about anything. And look, even Salah touched on it. I want to know exactly what he thought. But I think there is naturally a bit of bias as well because the England captain, Harry Kane, born and bred in this country, the referee, a lot, and it's not Liverpool, a lot of, football fans say he doesn't get a yellow carded. Harry Kane is known to dive a lot as well. But when he does it, it's seen as clever play. If Mohamed Salah does it, it's cheating, it's diving. Mohamed Salah hasn't been gifted a bloody free kick for 9 years. But Harry Kane has got a reputation of elbowing a lot of the centre backs as well. So, what is it? Implicit racial bias, racism, negative bias? Look, I think that's what Mohamed Salah wanted—a bit of patience from the club, from the coaching staff, and the hierarchy. That if I'm going through a barren run, especially after an all-timer season, especially what I've talked about, so many other factors as well, the decimated right-hand side, the right-back problem, the number 10 problem, the bloody attacking problem. One day is Ekitike, one day is Isak, who can't keep fit as well. No cohesion, no relationships. And Mohamed Salah, to be fair to him, even when he was collecting all those awards, the back end of last season, especially in the summer, he was talking about, we bought a lot. And he put Arsenal favourites. And people talked about him being very, very clever and very, psychological.
Psychological,
and as well. But there's a lot of honesty in there as well. A lot of honesty.
Yeah.
So, look, that is one problem. And that's what he was talking about. If Harry Kane does it, the media narrative is look, why is he not doing it? He's done it for 7-8 years. Then we want a bit of consistency as well. Narrative should be that the guy who's been supplying the goals and the output for the last 8-9 years, forget about the 8-9 years, just 3 months ago, then surely it's a deep-rooted problem.
And let's be honest, there's been other periods in Salah's career where he's been really bad and poor, but there has never been any suggestion of him being dropped during those periods. Like, quite often he had a brilliant winter. He was brilliant September, October, November, and then he'd come back. I remember him come back after AFCON, and he was really bad, got injured, and then he was bad again. But he still played every game, didn't he? Still played every week. And it's not like there was loads of options to play instead then as there is now. There isn't. So you do suddenly think now there's a bigger reason behind this. And I think it's what we all think.
Yeah. City again. I think we've done that as well. Gene, whatever we've done, just unstart it so I don't get confused. City again, don't complain anymore when players fuck us over now. I don't know what he means. Does he mean potential transfers or?
No, I think he means that when like I was saying, potentially, I think this is what he means. Is like I was saying with, well, Trent done us over, and it's like I think he's saying, well, don't complain when the likes of Trent does us over, because the club are capable of doing it to the greats. Then they're all as bad as one another, aren't they? There's no loyalty in football. It's all just a business. It's all just about contracts. You sign your contract. And this is what I was saying the other night. I think Salah does love Liverpool. But I think if you really, really be honest with yourself, I don't think anybody loves Liverpool. I think they love playing. I think I love the lifestyle and they love the scenario. But nobody really, really loves, because love's a powerful word. And I think, it's not, that's not what this business is anymore. It's about yourselves. And that's the way it is.
Canera,
yeah.
Canera, Mcel,
Kane Ramsell.
Yeah, Kane Ramsell. That's the one. Ben, think your opinion is always fair. Do you think there is a bid there ready for the king? I think it's about the money for the club. Do you think there's a bid on the table, Ben?
I think if these guys have done what they've done and they're smart as what we think they are, and this has all been a huge conspiracy or a huge bigger plan, then they'd be absolutely nuts to have not done a deal. So I'd be amazed if the deal is not already sorted. Because as Gene said, if they haven't made agreed a deal, then now they're in deep shit, because Salah can just turn around and say, well, you think I'm going for 50, 60 million? Well, we'll see about that, won't we? So I think a deal's got to be done. And I think he goes for north of 50 at least in January.
Blue chip, it looks like the flight is still there on the runway. He goes, breaking news. The chip has tweeted. Let's see what he's tweeted. Probably something as something. Oh, he goes, we have been monitoring. I'll tell you now, we have. And it's a gif of Xabi Alonso on the phone.
You know what's mad as well? I was just suddenly thinking then, if Salah goes in January, now again, this is hypothetical, if he goes in January for 100 million to Saudi, then there's probably a huge amount of the fan base that will say, oh my word, what a blinded have played there. But if he goes for 20 million, then there'll be murder, because they'll be like, well, why the hell have you let one of your greatest players go for 20 million when he would have still been an asset? And it all comes down to who do you think's get the best deal? And again, equally, if some absolute belter, so like I've said, I highly doubt it, but if a Michael Elise came in January to replace Salah, then all of a sudden they'd be like, okay, what a blinded they've played. And then we ended up, I don't know, getting to the Champions League final or something. They'd be like, what a blinded the club have played. How do we ever question these owners? Because they are the elite and they know what they're doing. So it all really depends on what actually comes next, to be fair. And as much as we love Salah, it's the respect that we haven't shown to him, but it is ultimately about what's happening on the pitch and how it plays out on the pitch.
Ben, I think this is you make a really, really good point, and I think this is another big issue right now, because Ben, the team's absolute shocking. Let's face it, and let's not sugarcoat the last 3 games and say, yeah, there's been major improvements. We played a shit West Ham, got lucky by a last minute thingy, and drew against fucking Leeds. Let's not make it out, against teams that were in 18th, 19th position, yeah? So let's not sugarcoat it and say, because the team's been so shit, it's just enlightened and made everything 1,000 times worse.
Absolutely.
On. And with the respect, I've been honest out, and most of us have probably asked for his head before this news even came out. Before any of the Salah interviews, 80% of what I've saw online is they wanted him gone, including me.
Yeah.
So it's not just about Salah here. There's other issues that have just made this situation 1,000 times worse. But anyway, I'm carrying on with the supers, man.
Shane McGee, big up Shane, always supporting the team.
Thanks, Shane.
The team is switching away from Moore because of additions, which is exposed of all of Moore's weaknesses. If we think the club was selling him in 26, this was always coming without output from him. No one wins with him going public. Yeah, I like to repeat that last line as well. Shane McGee, again, benched week in, week out. Has been 1 week. Asim. Did I say that? What I probably meant is benched the last 3 games. That's what I meant. But you didn't need to send a super chat for that. But big up, Shane. Ash again in the house. Now we can see why Jurgen was tired. 100%. The egos are bigger in the boardroom than the dressing room. There's a reason why Edwards and Hughes wanted a yes man.
You missed this one, Asim.
V2 Conje, thank you so much. Post club, FSG wanted an alignment, misalignment. Is Slot v senior players, if they're backing Slot, time to move on from the old guard. Virgil, Salah said to bring a new core. Changes ugly but needed for better to grow. Look, yes, you're right. Change is ugly, but at the end of the day, there's ways of letting your legends go as well. And look, it's like what Ben was touching on. When the club does it, they're seen as ruthless and business-like. But if a player does it, you're a rat.
Yeah.
Where do you draw the line?
Yeah.
Where do you draw the line?
In a mad sort of way, it's sort of give Trent, that this might be controversial, but it's almost give him a little bit of a pass to say, well, you know what? Everyone just looks after themselves, don't they? And that's the reality of it. And we should stop. I think I've heard a lot of people on podcasts say this. I stopped loving. The last time I loved somebody was Torres because he went to Chelsea. You know what I mean? It's like there is no loyalty, and that's the thing. We love them when they're on the pitch. We love them winning. We love them playing well. But ultimately, all we care about is our team doing well, and players come and players go.
And what people are saying now, I agree. I think he's a good coach. I still don't think he's a bad coach, but I think he's probably one of the worst people to have it in this situation.
Exactly, 100%. Yeah, because he makes those ridiculous comments about Jacob Murphy that you think to yourself, have a little word with yourself, mate. And he should be getting, if he is the man, or they think he's the man, then they should be giving him a lot more sort of coach. They should be giving him a lot more coaching.
We've got a heartbroken admin tonight, mentioning no names.
Junior, grow up, man.
Junior,
Ben, sort yourself out.
Honestly, these people. I'm have words with you, Junior.
Yes, V2 Conje, thank you. I think we read that out. Slot out. Is this Ali? Ali, yes or no? Both Salah and Slot won't be at LFC in 2026. Watch. It's only about 20 odd days. I think Salah won't be here, but I think Slot will be here. If anything, with the Salah interview, it strengthened Arne Slot's position. Like, imagine they get rid of him in a couple of weeks' time. All the news will be that Salah's ticked off and they got rid of the manager. And where does that leave?
But Asim, you lose against Inter and lose against Brighton, the fucking the writing's on the wall again.
True, but Joyce said, like, Slot's sort of own future.
This is another thing that pissed me off with the
decided by results. Just check the results of the last 2 months.
But this is what I'm saying. Over the next, you will lose another 2 more results.
Yeah, so
I know, but in the context, the results are awful. We know that, but I know again this might sound mad, but we have to try and be level-headed about it. The results over the last week or two have been better than the results over the previous few weeks, and that's I know it sounds mad, but we're unbeaten in 3, and that's where we're at.
Lose the next 2, and it's fucking on the wall again.
Right back there. And I think there's a very good chance if things go pear-shaped with. I think Mo's gone. It's sad, but I think he is. But if we end this season, I don't know, like 7th or 8th or something, and we go out to Champions League, and then there was an Alonso become available in next summer, or an Enrique or whoever, then I think they may well to look to upgrade. I don't think Slot is completely infallible at all, but at this moment in time, I think there's probably, they're probably thinking a genuine successor is probably not on the market mid-season, realistically. Anyone who's really worth the salt is not going to be on the market mid-season, so therefore it's better to say. And I totally agree with Avi. I do not want it, because if they do make a decision on Slot, I do not want to become the circus that's United, because if we make the wrong decision next, then that could set us back a long time, and we don't want to become a merry-go-round club where he brings his players in and then it doesn't work, and then the next manager brings his players in, and it's like you've just got a squad full of players from 5 different managers, and it'll be horrific.
Mohammed Kibriya, always supporting. Big up to Mohammed, and just to say a prayer for Mohammed tonight as well. He's not been well over the last week or two, so hope he well. Hope the family's good. And this situation,
I thought you meant Salah then.
He's not well as well. He's not well, and so this situation couldn't have helped anyone with their health. But big up. I hope you're resting up well. Yes, the boys. Does Salah travel Tuesday for San Siro? If he ain't in the squad for weekend, we Brighton, we riot. No, you're not well, Mohammed. You stay home, get well soon, have some rest. But what you can do is hit a like for Salah and BNR, and subscribe to the channel if you're new, and all that good stuff. Big up, Mohammed. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Mohammed. That was great.
Your super chat. LFC Super, big up. My opinion that they are waiting for Alonso to come available, and then they will sack Slot. As always, love the content, guys. Big up. Thank you so much. LFC Super with a super chat. Josh, big up, always supporting. This doesn't go down with the players too, which how Salah is being treated. Don't be surprised if they drop their performances. This situation is bad, and I believe. Now, I think Avi mentioned it. There will, if there's a division in the fan base, is naturally going to be a division. Do I believe that every single player is backing Salah and what he did last night? No. Even if they sympathize with the situation and how he's been treated, he's a friend. But a few will say, look, Mo, whatever you thought, just don't make it public. And look, what Szoboszlai said prior, I mean, he's probably looking like an idiot now. He said, whatever stays in the changing room, whatever happens in the locker room, stays in the locker room. But if you go by Van Dijk's comments, he was touching, was he giving us hints as to what's been happening over the last 3-4 weeks, where it's been bubbling up, and he's been talking about, I need Mohamed Salah with me. He's a leader. He's one of our best players, or the best player. So, it just depends where you are. And I genuinely believe there will be some players pissed off.
They've all got different agendas, though, haven't they? Like Van Dijk
100%.
probably knows that he is going to be here for the next 2 years, so he's got to steer us through this situation. Isaac, for example, is probably deep down thinking, well, this is better for me because I can then become the main man, sort of thing. But it's dead funny what he's just said then, that super chat. Josh there, sorry, I just whizzed that back up again. He said, don't be surprised if the players drop their performance. The situation is bad. I tell you what, Canate must have got the memo about 6 months ago then, mustn't he? Because I don't know what his performance looks like anywhere. Oh my word!
By the looks of it,
Flipping Nora.
He's being dog shit, man.
Let me go. Bante is fine. I'm surprised where it was. Bante is fine today, but big up. I wasn't trying to hint, you didn't send a super chat tonight, but big up. Hope you and your family are well. I'm not mad. Edwards and Co are looking how do you pronounce that? Ben? Expedite. I don't want to get clipped. Post more Plancer.
Plans a few months in advance.
Yeah,
a few months in advance. To be honest. I know my eyes. The way they recruited in summer insinuated bless more though.
Yeah.
Thoughts, Ben? Quickly.
It feels like a massive conspiracy theory, doesn't it? It feels like it was premeditated plan. It feels like this was on the cards. But at the same time, he started the season, Mo, and he was playing every week. And I think as the season's gone on, I think they've just thought, you know what, if we can pull the plug early and get more money, I think that's just a simple thing. And I think as the season's evolved, they've just thought, you know what, we thought that this was going to be fine for 12 months, but it's clearly not. And now we've got to look at situations going forward and how we can get the best out of Wirtz and Isaac and Ekitike. And it's dead easy to say, oh, Salah should have just been playing ahead of Gakpo. We can all see that. It's clear as day. But there's a bigger picture here. Gakpo's not on 450 grand a week. Gakpo's just signed a new deal. Gakpo's, a part of a squad and is not going to kick off if he's benched. Whereas Salah is, Salah. And it's a totally different conversation. And a totally different
this is what I was saying, Ben, that I believe they were looking to expedite the plans. Because with the Salah contract situation, then with what happened with Wirtz and Isak, like I was saying, do you really think they came in just like within a week of negotiations? No, they were shortlisted many. And I genuinely believe when Van Dijk met Isak in the cup final and that viral video of them, having a little word, mumbling something to each other, I believe that you might call me a conspirator, but I don't care. I believe, Isak probably said something along the lines like, see you soon. And I believe absolutely. At that time he was talking to Liverpool. He gave his authorization for a Liverpool move. I genuinely believe that. So I think Bante is fine, is on the right lines there. Where are we?
Slot out for anyone.
Slot out for anyone.
There's some new accounts knocking about at the moment, isn't there?
Xabi lost again at home. Stars aligning. Tick tack. Where are Real Madrid in the table? Are
is that right? Yeah. Did they lose again tonight?
Apparently they lost. Yeah, all the chat is saying the same thing. Whilst you do that, check the result. I'll go. Thoughts on Heitinger being close more than Slot?
I think that goes into what we said about communication skills. In that Slot's a great. Heitinger clearly is more of a people person, I think, than Jurgen. Than Arne, and that probably helped. And again, that's made it even slightly difficult. And maybe Van Bronckhorst is not quite that same divide, and that's not helped as well. It's all these little tiny things that just not fallen into place.
Yeah. Heitinger took a lot of sessions as well, Ben.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Any more?
So, Real Madrid beaten 2-0 at home by Celta Vigo.
Wow. And how many points are they behind?
Fran Garcia got sent off after 64 minutes. And Celta Vigo were 1-0 up and then scored second in the second half. Real Madrid are now second. They're 4 points off Barcelona in first.
Not miles off then. Not miles off.
Yeah, not
Uh,
massive.
They were
Yeah,
like 3 or 4 points ahead only a couple of weeks ago.
Were they?
Asim. Yeah,
Were
they?
they were
Yeah.
flipping ahead of the title race, and they've dropped bare points.
yeah, but they're still. What are they? 16 played, 11 wins, 3 draws, 2
And they got-
defeats. Not like a horrendous record.
Yeah, true.
Slot out again. Slot will go around February time, interim till the end. Yeah, that's a fair shout. Total saying my super chat. Did you?
Oh yeah, he's missed one. This one.
You think Salah spoke to Van Dijk, Ali, Robbo before doing this? It's a great question.
My heart says no.
Your heart says no. What does your mind say?
No. Fucking both of them.
You could have just said, no.
So listen, you know why? Salah's one of them, Asim.
Listen,
Yeah,
we've
I
missed a few
mean-
super chats. Ben, find Jax and then find.
Why have you been? You said to me you being.
We missed loads of super chats, boys.
Yeah, we have. Yeah, the system deletes
Jack's
them
still
as well
there,
when
yeah.
you whiz
We
through them.
haven't missed it. See, look there.
Okay.
We haven't got there.
Yeah,
Okay,
we're still working through them, guys.
Answer the other question, Ben, quickly. The previous one.
I'm with Gene. I don't think he did. I think he went on his own
I agree. But
because I think
has
he
he
knew
been,
the
has
right
he,
was on the
has
ball.
he been telling him as to what's happening and how he thinks? Yes.
Yes.
Did they know that he's
100%.
going to go? No.
Yeah, and that's where Sabozlai said what happens in the dressing room stays in the dressing room. So they probably all know, and they probably have known for a while, but they're like, that needs to stay in house, mate, and we need to fight through this together. And now Salah's been lashed out on the in the cold. He's like, well, who am I fighting for now? I'm now fighting for myself.
That's fine. The next one.
V2 Conje, Arsenal had a situation with Arteta v Aubameyang. Arsenal moved Aubameyang on, not replacing their striker situation until the season. But look how close that team has gone around that Arteta. Better than us for now.
It took them
What
5
do you
years,
think?
3 or 4 years to get there, though. Let's wait and see what happens. Look, that's a fair comment. I get it. You know, people will say, people will bring the Aubameyang, but with respect, Aubameyang didn't just, never. He's a good player. He did well for them, but Salah and Aubameyang, there's a massive difference. So Salah is a great of this football club, and so look, I would handled is just wrong, man.
Yeah, I would use the Kevin De Bruyne scenario from last season as a bit more of a judgment because they're similar level in stature.
Yeah.
But Pep did what he's done, and he left them out. And there's clearly some words said by Kevin to say, I still think I'm fine. I still think I'm good, and the club are like, you're not, mate. You're on the decline, and you're not the future. And then the decision was made, and he's like, I'm leaving, and that's it. And that's probably what we wish would happen with Salah. We know he's leaving.
Decision in the summer and just not give him a contract.
Yeah. But they wanted the wedge, didn't they?
This is the thing. This is why we're here. This is why we're here. And so, exactly. Yeah. Okay, that's done. You spoke about done that. This one next. Banter is fine, Asim.
Now we've done a deal for more, but I think figures have been floated around between intermediaries. I suspect the figures interest the board big time. This is what I believe, that yes, they've been sounding out interested parties for the last 5-6, and I believe the cracks started not 3 weeks ago. The cracks started 2 months ago. 2 months ago, between Mohamed Salah and Slot. What else is there? Gene, next one. Slot out for anyone. Jabi lost again at home. Stars aligning. Tic-tac. I think we've done that. Gene, next one. Jack, wondering if they want to get rid of Salah now in case they get a new coach in the new season. So we already are used to him not playing, and it's too late for the new coach to have a say about him. Jack, I believe that they are backing Slot because he's their pick, he's their man, he's their yes man, and yeah, they can say it's a results-based business, but if it was a results-based business, Arne Slot won't be here. It's an unprecedented situation already. What we've been seeing, 9 out of 12, I lost bloody count, and he can't blame me for it as well. So if it was a result-based business, then he won't be here. Gene, next one. Slot out 1, 2, 3, 4. Asim, it's Ali, and they have to say back in PR 100%. That's what exactly I was saying. Ali, hope you're well. Slot out thoughts on Heitinger being close. I've done that. Next one, Slot will go. I've done that. Reds and response. I'm worried. Salah leaving is pretty much bringing the Klopp empire to an end. It is bye bye. Silverware, hello, mid table. Is Alonso better than Slot? I think he is. Slot out. This is why Semenyo has been linked for a reason. 100%.
I think that's it. We've done the super Asim.
I have to put Billy's Marcy.
Yeah.
Big up Billy. Trent pass. I've heard it all now. Trying to undermine Salah further by now. Trying to understand why.
Asim.
Oh, we clicked off it.
Oh, I've clicked off it and it's gone.
Oh yeah, there it is. There it is. Oh no, that's another one.
Let's read this one out. Let's read this one out. At least we read one out.
What's this one?
Ober and Salah, Arteta and Slot. Wow, KDB wasn't forced out either. He left with grace. End of the season. No, I disagree. I think KDB was forced because he came out in front of the cameras and said, "Look, I don't know why. I think I'm good enough, but it's the club's decision." So I think he was forced out.
Absolutely.
I think he was forced out. He didn't even let me read that end of that as well. They set up Salah to fail. Devious. That I agree with, where they had a plan. They promised him a load of stuff, and this is where we find ourselves in. Indy apparently has tweeted again.
The legends.
What's he saying now?
He said major what's called hierarchy management at Liverpool are convening tomorrow morning for a meeting. Liverpool will fly to Italy tomorrow, and high-level talks will take place on the plane.
Guess what Sammy Mokbel goes? He goes, sources with knowledge of the situation told BBC that Salah's relationship with Slot is genuinely broken at present. They said he simply doesn't see a future at Liverpool with Slot as his manager. Chutty, mate, it's done.
There you go. And I think, I was just about to say I've been told. I think that is the reason why he's come in front of the cameras, because he's tried to reconcile, and the club have made their decision.
And that's been backed by the hierarchy, hasn't it?
Exactly.
There's no way Slot's making that decision on his own.
Exactly. Okay, people. Anfield sector has aggregated something. Do you want to check that? My battery's just about to die, Gene.
I think it's the Sammy Mokbel piece.
Yeah, Sammy Mokbel piece, yeah.
Right, yo. That's the wrap, people.
It is.
I think call it, man. Married Bassi. It's been a long weekend.
No, super. The T goes, you can miss my super chat if you want.
I don't even know. Did we miss his?
I didn't. No.
I didn't see it.
That was the comment. That was literally the comment. Anfield Zone TV. What are your thoughts on Paul Joyce article? Anfield Zone. If you want our thoughts on the Paul Joyce article, then just there's 1 hour 27 minutes of reflection upon those articles, those type of articles, and I think he could have worded the whole article a lot better. And one day, I hope he regrets that article, because to use words like grenade and nuclear, he bloody made Mohamed Salah sound like bloody Osama bin Laden. That's what he made him sound like. Okay.
For what it's worth, India's message, it all revolves around Xabi Alonso. Richard Hughes and Michael Edwards identify Alonso as the first choice. Blah, 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 blah. Spent hours trying to convince Alonso, blah, blah, blah. But it finishes with Michael Edwards is obsessed with Alonso's tactical setup. Ah, dear me. We'll see.
Okay, people.
This is a great shout, by the way.
Yeah, Junior, sack the fucking shit. Sack him.
Okay, people. Should we get t-shirts printed? Maybe one day. Okay.
Merch could be coming soon. My word, we might have a different line in a few weeks.
Junior. Oh, look, Abid's in the chat. Okay, people, there is still 650 of you in here. I don't know how many likes we've got. We've still had, I think we nearly had 900 people in here tonight. There's still 633 to be exact people in here. Please smash the like on the way out.
Likes, man, 205 likes. Come on, guys. Minimum 300, man.
And we're talking, some people can't be bothered because they're watching on their phone. They cannot be bothered just to swipe it off their stream and smash the camera down and then smash the like. I need to actually try it, what the situation is. But if on the way out you have no excuse, smash a like, people. And you know what? We will give you a call-in show. Joey's asking for a call-in show. We will, and it's going to be very, very, very busy. So we are thinking about it. Maybe next weekend or midweek somehow after the Inter Milan game. But I know what's going to happen. Where I think he only allowed 10 to 12 people in the StreamYard, and it'll be a massive clog up. So we might just have to give everyone 5 minutes each because there's a lot of people who want to express their thoughts and get things off their chest as well. But until
sorry, Yar, I made a mistake.
What's it?
I no comment anyway. I'll tell you later.
Oh, okay.
There we go. Shout out for one of my blue nose mates who's having the time of his life at the moment.
You bastards.
And there we go. Yeah. All the best.
All the best. Not.
Right, yo. Okay, people. Thank you so much for listening to our waffle again. Smash the like, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and we'll catch you on the next one. Peace and love. Good night.
Take care, everyone.